You know, we're using AI for just about everything these days, but what if there's a huge blind spot, a fundamental flaw, baked right into its core? Some brand new research points to a hidden bias, and it could be holding AI back in a big way. It really all boils down to one simple question.
Think about it. We ask our AI assistants to work in all sorts of languages, but is it really fluent, or is it just faking it? Is its amazing intelligence actually getting lost in translation when we step outside of English? All right, so let's get into it. A new research paper decided to put one of the most popular AIs out there, GPT 3.5, under the microscope. And what they found? Wow. It points to this pretty massive performance gap between how it handles English versus other major languages. So today we're going to break down exactly how they figured this out and what it all means for us.
So where does a bias like this even come from? Well, the researchers had a hunch, a really strong one, about where the problem might be starting. And this is really the key to the whole thing. These big AIs, these large language models, they learn by basically reading the internet. I mean, a huge chunk of it. And what language dominates the internet? English, by a long shot. So the theory is simple. The AI gets way more practice with English, so it develops this deep, nuanced understanding of it that it just doesn't have for other languages.
Okay, so that's the theory, but how do you actually prove it? Well, you do what scientists do, you design an experiment. They set up this really clever, simple test to see if this English-heavy diet was actually making the AI less accurate in other languages.
And here's the game plan. It was a super clean 4-step process. First, they came up with 4 simple tasks, things like math, wordplay, you'll see in a sec. Second, they took those prompts and translated them into 5 languages. Third, to be sure about the results, they ran each and every prompt through the AI 10 times. And finally, they just did the math. They calculated the accuracy for each language to see how it stacked up. A really solid, straightforward method.
And look, the questions they used were super direct. No room for interpretation, right? Like, what is 2 to the power of 3? Or what's the reverse of the word strawberry? There's only one right answer, which is perfect when you're trying to measure accuracy. And remember, these are the exact prompts that got translated for the other languages.
Okay, so the stage is set. The test is running. The big question is, what did they find? And folks, this is where things get really interesting.
So first, you need a baseline, right? You need to know how the AI performs in its native tongue, so to speak. In English, GPT 3.5 was a rock star. Super accurate, nailing the right answer over 92% of the time. That's exactly what we'd expect from a powerful AI like this. But what happens when you ask those exact same questions, just in a different language?
And here we go. This chart says it all. I mean, just look at that drop-off. For German, the accuracy falls to around 67%. Okay, not great, but then you get to Spanish and it plummets to 40%. For French, it's down to under 18%. And then you get to Hindi. And the result is it's staggering. It's almost hard to believe.
7.5%. Let that sink in. We're talking about a massive performance gap here. The AI basically went from being an A+ student in English to, well, failing completely in Hindi. And remember, these were the same simple tasks. The logic didn't change at all. So the big question is, why?
Okay, so the data clearly shows there's a problem, a big one. So the next logical step for the researchers was to figure out why this is happening.
And here's the conclusion, straight from the paper itself. It all comes back to that first idea we talked about. The AI's performance is tied directly to the quality and the quantity of the language it was trained on.
So to put it another way, the AI isn't being malicious or biased on purpose. It's really just a mirror reflecting the data we fed it. Think of it like this. It's read a library the size of a planet in English, so it has this incredibly rich, complex model of that language. But for other languages, its reading list was, well, a lot shorter, and maybe the books weren't as good, and that leads to a much shallower understanding.
Okay, so if we know the problem, what's the solution? Because this isn't just some interesting academic finding, right? This has huge, real-world consequences for things like fairness and who gets to access this amazing technology. And the path forward seems pretty clear, actually. The core problem is this performance gap completely undermines trust and usability for anyone who isn't an English speaker. So the solution? We have to deliberately improve the training data. We need to find and feed the AI tons of high-quality content in as many languages as possible. The goal here is simple. Make sure AI is inclusive and accessible for everyone, everywhere.
This is how we can use AI to reduce digital inequality, not make it worse.
And that really leaves us with this one big, crucial question. This research shines a massive spotlight on a challenge we have to face. As AI gets woven deeper and deeper into our daily lives, making sure it works just as well for someone in Mumbai as it does for someone in Chicago, well, that isn't just a technical problem to solve. It's really a question of fairness and global equity.